got a daughter who's coming up to 29 years of age, and I've got a son who'll be turning 18 next month.
A son that's what?
Turning 18 next month.
What does that mean?
His 18th birthday.
Oh, 18!
Yeah, 18.
I thought you said he's taking an AC next month.
No, it's the Scouse accent. I'm trying.
Okay, lean forward. Come here a bit closer. Is that okay,
Is
Ryan?
that better?
Yeah.
I am
Okay.
trying.
Alright, so you've got a son who's 18 next month. Alright.
Yeah.
We didn't start off very well, did
Yeah,
we?
no.
Okay, so your daughter is injured, isn't she?
Yeah, she's vaccine damaged.
Okay, let's go back, and because they like to call us anti-vaxxers, so let's go back and talk about what you were thinking on vaccines.
Okay, well, my daughter was born in July 1988. It was a normal pregnancy. As soon as my daughter was born, everything was fine. She was my first baby. I'm from a family of 4 brothers. I had a nephew at the time, so me having a little girl, delighted over the moon, knew she'd be spoilt rotten, couldn't wait for the frilly dresses, and I was absolutely delighted that I gave birth to a little girl. So, wanting everything to be healthy for my daughter, I believed in vaccines. I believed and I trusted. My daughter reached all her milestones. When my daughter was a little girl, she was more like a tomboy. She loved climbing and things, but she was a little dancer. She loved dancing about, and at times I used to think, stop climbing. She'd want to just climb up everywhere. She was great, reached all her milestones.
So she's developed perfectly?
Absolutely perfect, perfectly healthy, until she was 6 years old.
She was 6, so late?
She was
So she was dancing, describe more, dancing?
She was just dancing about, she was climbing everywhere, she was up and down trees. Wherever she could climb, she'd climb.
Now how old is she today?
She'd be 29 in July, she's 28 years old now.
Okay, so that's just going back, so the vaccine schedule was not as crazy as it is now.
Yeah.
And you completely up to date on her vaccines?
Yeah.
Which wasn't very many.
She has all her vaccines, but back in 1994, when she was at school, I was told there was going to be another measles epidemic. So, wanting to protect, she brings a letter in from school one day. Mum, we're getting a needle at school. So I signed that form in all good faith, and I trusted. And I trusted, believing, oh, okay, that's fine. I didn't have an issue with any other vaccine. That is where the guilt is set in with me. So that day she received that vaccine.
Was it MMR?
No, it was MR.
Oh, MR, yeah.
But MR, it was on the 22nd of November 1994. My daughter came out of school one day and she said, Mum, I've had 2 vaccines. I thought, 2 vaccines? What vaccine did she have? I thought. I knew she was due to receive the MMR, because this is where my guilt is. I signed for her to have the MR vaccine. God, I wish I could turn back time. So with that MR vaccine, I still wasn't sure what the other vaccine was. At that time, I didn't feel I had to question it, because she was fine after all the vaccines. Within 48 hours to 72 hours, she just became unwell in herself. Being like the winter time, it being November, I just thought it was a little cough or cold or something like that coming on it. Anyway, I always remember it. I was in my parents' home at the time. With
with your parents?
I wasn't living with my parents, I was just in my parents' home at the time. And it was like, just after tea time, after the evening meal. And I noticed it, and she was becoming like feverish and things like that. Then she wanted to just lie down. So when she was lying down, she seemed to develop this a rash all over her face and all over her neck. So it was like a measles type of rash. And I was thinking, how can she be getting measles? That looks like measles. So all her glands were all swollen, she had this high fever. I tried to get in touch with the doctors at the time, but when I phoned like the GPs, or it was out of hours surgery. Anyway, I did speak to one of the doctors, and they just told me, I explained that she'd had MR a couple of hours before, within 72 hours. He said, oh, that's fine, it's just the needle, it's just the reaction, everything could be fine, it just proves that it's working.
Proves that it's working.
That it's working. Well, I took their advice on it, I thought, yeah, okay. So within the 2 weeks, she never became herself. She just wanted to lie down all the time, and I was thinking, what's the matter with her? Still at this time, I never questioned the vaccine. I was just a little bit, God, she just didn't seem right. She was never the same child from the MR. Take myself to the 8th of December, 1994. I was getting her ready for school one day. 6 years old, she was only dainty. Getting her ready, she said, Mum, my hands hurt. I said, what do you mean your hands hurt? So she said, them 2 fingers are hurting me. And when I looked at her fingers, I became very concerned right away. Her index finger and her middle finger, they were so swollen. They were normally, you know, just a little child's fingers, but they were really big and they were bent over. And I thought, try and straighten them, and I tried to move them, and she screamed. So I was really concerned by this. I thought, these fingers don't look right. So by that time I took her to the nearest accident and emergency department. I took her to the accident and emergency. So my daughter had a little couple of bruises on her legs. So when I took her into the room, I explained to them about the fingers. So they wanted to take some blood and things like that off her. But they were more concerned about the bruises on the legs. I wasn't concerned because she'd just learned to ride a bike. To me, they were just normal little bruises on her legs. So I wasn't concerned, and the doctors were looking all over them. So how did she get them? So I says, well, I don't know, she's a climber. She likes riding the bike, I'm not sure. Can you just wait about for an hour? An accident and emergency. I said, yeah, okay. So by this time, my daughter's just sort of sitting on my knee and we're walking around the A&E department. Then I was called in. When I was called in, oh, your daughter has chronic juvenile arthritis.
Chronic juvenile arthritis.
That was a shock to my system. I was naive at the time. I was young when he had my daughter. So at this time I was 26, 27 years old. To me, it was a person's disease. A child with chronic juvenile arthritis. So she needs to see one of our rheumatologists. So we'll send for you, Mum. Well, I just went in complete shock. I really thought, oh my God, it's my daughter. I really thought at the time, is my daughter just going to turn into an old person? That's how I felt, because when I went to school, I'd never known any other child with arthritis. So I was thinking, it really, I couldn't believe it. I just really couldn't take it in. I couldn't believe it, but I wouldn't believe it. I just knew, since she had that vaccine, that MR vaccine, I just knew my child is not right. So again, we had to go and see a rheumatologist in the January of 1995. By this time, I was so distraught, a distraught mum. I just couldn't wait to get there to say, since my daughter received MR vaccine, like I say, I've mentioned it before, on the 22nd of November 1994, I feel my child is vaccine damaged. I always remember the consultant, he wouldn't look at me. And I was, please listen to me, I just want you to know, my child's vaccine damaged through MR. Don't be silly, don't be silly. And I was thinking, how do you mean don't be silly? Please listen to me with what I'm saying. So he wouldn't look at me, he wouldn't look me in the eye. He was all over my daughter's joints. I really thought it was just the 2 fingers. But he was telling me it was in her ankles, it was in her feet, it was in her knees, it was here, it was her elbows, it was everywhere. And I was thinking, oh no, how could this happen? So after that, each appointment we'd go to every couple of months, he told me, he said, you don't realise how much of a lucky mum you are, because 12 months before, you'd have had to have travelled to Grace Ormond Street Hospital. He
To
said,
where?
Grace
Ormond Street
Ormond
Hospital, which is, just for people who don't know, is our biggest children's London hospital, and that's Alder Hayes is one of them.
Yeah, Alder Hay. So I thought to myself, he said, I was such a lucky mum that we actually had rheumatologists now at Alder Hay. So I thought, I was such a lucky mum. Well, that quizzed me in my mind. Then I thought, well, why all of a sudden back in 1994 did we need them then in Alder Hay? 12 months before, if it was only in Grace Ormond Street, why do you need them now? So I always remember going to another hospital appointment. By this time I felt I was going out my mind because nobody was listening to me at the time. I couldn't express myself, I couldn't explain myself. I always remember going to clinic. On this day at my clinic, I had my mother with me, who came to all the hospital appointments, which is Alicia's nan. I always remember looking around this day. It was a room full of girls who were exactly near enough the same age as my daughter. So I'm looking around at all the parents, and I'm looking around at all these girls thinking, this is strange. This is so strange. So when we actually went in to see the consultant, that's the first thing I mentioned. I said, why are they all girls outside, all the same age as my daughter? They've all got arthritis. I never ever seen that happen again. Never ever seen that in the clinic. It was all different age groups then. So I was told that the fluid from the back of the knees had travelled to the back of the eyes from arthritis. So my daughter was put in touch then with the eye specialist. So each time I'd ask an eye specialist, I was wanting to know answers, because I had my 6-year-old daughter who was frightened because she used to have these drops, medication put in her eyes before she could actually go on a slit lamp in her eyes. So she was frightened because she used to have to wear little sunglasses, her pupils used to go big, and she was frightened by it. So I'd be asking them questions and I'd be saying, my daughter's now vaccine damaged. No one would look at me. They'd totally switch me on. They just would not listen to me.
So you continue to tell everybody?
Everybody that I could, whoever I could tell, I wanted to tell.
And it's just, for people who may be getting confused, not the MMRs, it's measles, rubella. So it's just measles and rubella, no mumps in this vaccine.
Yeah, so it wasn't until then we carried on with our heartache, my heartache, watching my daughter every day, not being able to climb anymore. She was struggling with her everyday needs. At the time, she had like a niece then who was like a couple. No, she didn't have a niece, I had a niece who was like, she was playing. Alicia walked, my daughter Alicia, she walked early. She walked when she was 11 months and she ran everywhere. But when my niece used to come, she used to go on her knees and she used to crawl with her too. When she'd wave her goodbye, she'd stand back up and walk, and it was quite funny to watch. You know, the way she'd crawl all day and the way she'd stand back up. So what always quizzed me when we'd be having these hospital appointments for a joint, the consultants always told me, how's her bowels, Mum?
How's what?
Her bowels.
Her bowels.
Her bowels.
Okay,
and I used to think, why are you asking me about her bowels? This is about her joints. What's her bowels got to do with it? That always used to amaze me, because each appointment he'd be saying, is her bowels okay? It really concerned me. What's the problem with her bowels? Well. When my daughter became a teenager, when she reached puberty, she reached the age of 12 or 13, she told me one day, Mum, I've got a little bit of blood in my motion. So I was like, that's okay, that's quite normal, that could be anything. It could be to do with your diet, it could be because your body is changing. But I always, I wish my daughter's life away. When I say wish her life away, I was always told by the consultant, she'll grow out of this arthritis when she's 7. Every 7 years, her body's going to change. So when she reached 7, it didn't happen. When she reached 14, it was going worse. She could hardly walk. A joint, she used to cry in pain. I used to have to take her to school. Her knees would be so swelled. Her feet would be so swelled. The struggle to watch my daughter with her everyday needs was heartbreaking to me as a mum, heartbreaking. But I was having no one at the time listening. So I'll go back to her bowels. So when my daughter was 15 years of age, she developed this chronic diarrhoea. And this diarrhoea, it became bloody, it became mucus. She'd be in absolute pain, abdominal pain. She lost so much weight. Each time I'd take her back to Alder Hey, I was still only seen by consultants. I was taking specimens in, never ever heard anything. So this day, I takes everything in and I said, my daughter is constant diarrhoea, we're getting no sleep. It's just a heartbreak to watch her. She can't eat the minute she puts food in her mouth, it's going right through her. She's running to the toilet. Please help me, please help me. I don't know what's happening to my daughter. So I had to go every single week to the same hospital. They'd weigh her and they'd say, she's lost more weight, Mum. and they'd send us away with basic paracetamol. My daughter didn't need paracetamol. My daughter needed help. She needed professional help. But because I was one of those mothers, which I was told I was too overprotective over my daughter, the diarrhea was all in my daughter's mind. I was told it's all in her mind. She must be having some problems at home because she may be jealous of her younger brother. Because at that time, I'd had another baby. So I was thinking, my daughter's absolutely spoiled rotten. You're an overprotective mother. Of course I was an overprotective mother. It was my child. My child. Please listen to me. Well, we think that you need to go and see a GP because you can't accept your daughter's illness. You can't accept it. You need to go on some sort of antidepressant because it's all in your mind, Mum. Oh, Mum, it's all in your mind. Well, of course it's all in my mind. Please listen to me. Please help me. My daughter needs help. So with my daughter, they wanted to send her to a psychiatrist for having diarrhea. A psychiatrist. Well, I couldn't believe it. There's no way you're sending my daughter to a psychiatrist. Then they said that my daughter must have been having problems at school. Well, I thought maybe she is. I'll be bringing her home, I'll be sitting my daughter down, I'll be saying, please tell me, have you got problems at school? Is anybody bullying you at school? No, she had lots of friends, she was popular, but she wasn't popular when her joints were hurting because she couldn't join in all these activities anymore. There was a story one day, even at school, I know children sometimes can be very cruel. She was eating her lunch one day in school and she went and got herself a glass of water. And a friend said that, she was thirsty. So my daughter tried to say, have a drink of my water. So she said, no, I don't want to drink your water because you've got a disease. And that really upset my daughter. I had to go in, it was breaking my heart. I had to go in and explain to the school teachers about my daughter, what was happening. My daughter's vaccine damaged. People just used to look right through me as though I was the one who was of course I was going insane. I was going insane for the fact nobody is listening to me. I needed to speak to people. Nobody, there was nobody out there at all. And then I discovered Vax. When I discovered Vax, it was more, oh my God, when people used to ask me, what's wrong with your daughter? My daughter's illness developed to rheumatoid arthritis. She was going worse and worse. She was really struggling with her everyday needs. But the actual day my daughter was taken into hospital, she reached 4.5 stone in body weight. There was nothing of her, 4.5 stone. They kept her in that hospital for a week. They were just monitoring what she was eating, still convinced that she needs to see a psychiatrist because it was nothing to do with the abdominal pain or the diarrhea. I'll never forget, they took her into theatre, but as they wheeled her into theatre this day, my daughter was going for endoscopy, which is the cameras. As she was going in for the endoscopy, I went in with her while she was put under sedation, and then the 2 doors opened, and I thought, why is all the rheumatologists in there? There just seemed to be a band of doctors. There was rheumatologists, there was gastroenterologists, and I was thinking, why so many of them? So it was about an hour and a half to 2 hours. To me, my daughter was just having a normal procedure as the camera to find out what was wrong with her. So by this time, I was distraught because my child was so ill. I needed professional help for my child. So I always remember when she was in recovery, the gastroenterologist came out, looked me right in the eye and he said, your daughter is very, very undernourished. And I never forget that. My daughter's undernourished. It was as if, what does that mean? She's undernourished, she's very malnutrition. And I was as though it was my fault that my daughter had this diarrhea. And I was like, it took 13 months to watch my daughter struggle. So with the medications that she was put on, each week we had to go back, she was put on steroids. Little did I know at the time, you know, it's caused osteoporosis now. My daughter-
Osteoporosis.
Yeah, she's got osteoporosis, rheumatoid arthritis, ulcerative colitis, and I feel the guilty one for signing that form. A guilty mother, as like, I was the one that signed that form. I felt I'd caused them illnesses to her. That's how I felt being a mother. And being a parent, I felt that I was the one that did wrong. That's how I felt. So even now, my daughter's married now. She's married, I'm so delighted. She's happy and she's married. But she got pregnant, and at 17 weeks, she lost her baby. 17 weeks, and I was thinking, she got over at 12 weeks, which was like a 3 months, and I was thinking, oh God, please let everything go so well with her. Please let this pregnancy develop for her to make her happy. It was so hard to watch her. She can't brush her own hair. She has to be showered. But you'd never believe the everyday struggles that she does have. She has still got a smile on her face. Makes me happy being her mum. But the guilt watching my daughter now, that friends her age have got families of their own. My daughter's never been able to wear a high pair of shoes. She's never been able to put them on her feet. She can come out with me when I say, but she has to go out with me. She uses a wheelchair now at all times.
How old is she, 28?
28. She has to use a wheelchair now all the time because she struggles. She really does struggle every single day. While she's struggling, I'm struggling with her.
Did you ever find out what the other vaccine was that she had?
I believe that the other vaccine was DTaP. That's what I believe, but I never really looked into the other vaccine because at the time I was discovering the rubella signs of the vaccine was causing arthritis in girls. But I was so amazed by this but I was only getting this because there was no internet. All these 20 odd years ago, there was no internet. So I was only discovering this as like in newspapers, anything I could see. I wasn't clued up. I knew nothing about vaccines, nothing at all. I trusted. I did not believe that the medical professionals, I didn't have any doubt that there was anything in the vaccines. I was just trying to explain, my daughter is vaccine damaged, please help me. I know it's from that vaccine. My child was never the same. She was just never the same girl. It's so hard to live with every day. It really is so
really
hard
sad.
to live with it. It's so sad. It breaks my heart being a mother. It breaks my heart to watch her. Because like I say, I've said it a few times, I always felt the guilty one until I realised. Then I was discovering once I seen vaxxed, even to me, watching all those other mothers, but it was all about autism. Or watching all these mothers with struggling every day with the autism, but they were vaccine damaged children too. But to me, there was nobody there at the time, all these years ago, with a child like my child was, who was suffering the same as my child. I felt I had nobody to listen to me, no matter who I tried to tell. Nobody had listened to me at all. I just wanted to get my story out there. Nobody wants to listen to you. If you try a radio station, if you try a newspaper, everybody switches off. It's like, you're the one who's insane. Nobody at all.
You speak so well about it. Now there's a very interesting other part, because you went on to have a son, didn't you?
Yeah.
And we're going to interview your boy later.
Okay.
I'm just really sad the connection's not that good at the moment. But we'll let him talk about it. But you made a decision, didn't you, with your boy, and that was to unvaccinate your boy.
Unvaccinate
as in
him.
not vaccinate.
Yeah.
And just in a nutshell, was that a good decision?
Well, it is to me, because my son now, like I say, his age the way he is, he's grown well, he's developed well. Everything about him, the only little thing he ever has is a little cough and cold. You know, he's fully healthy, completely healthy. I really wish I'd have been able to do that for my daughter. I'd love to watch my daughter now being tall or being my size, anything, being completely healthy. Right now, vaccines absolutely terrify me. Absolutely terrify me. Because I didn't even think what was in vaccines. We don't know. We don't know what's in these vaccines. We didn't know. Nearly 23 years ago, I didn't know what was in vaccines. I trusted. I really trusted. Because to me, a doctor knows what's in those vaccines. And to me, it was safe. I had no reason to wonder why. But like I say, watching my son and watching my daughter, my son has just developed fantastically and he's perfectly healthy.
Yes, he's wonderful, and that's why he's agreed to do an interview with us.
Yeah.
He's 18?
He'll be 18 next month in June.
Okay, well now when you see your daughter, will you give her our love and tell her we're so sorry?
Thank you so much.
For you too,
I know.
it's painful.
Well, right now I really thought I'd have cried because I've cried every day and every night. I thought it was cried, but to me now I feel strong to think at least I've did this for you and I've been brave.
Yeah, you are brave.